Peppers are one of the easiest plants to grow, but one of the hardest to actually get to produce well. You can have big, healthy plants, tons of leaves, and barely any peppers. And if that's happening to you, it's not unusual. There are a few specific things that actually control whether a pepper plant produces or doesn't. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything that actually matters, from planting, spacing, watering, and feeding, and a couple of things that most people completely miss. And if you stick around to the end, I've got one thing that can make a noticeable difference in how much your pepper plants produce. Before you even put your peppers in the ground, you want to think about spacing and really the overall placement, because this absolutely affects how much your plants actually produce. The first part of that is sun exposure. Peppers need a lot of sun, but how they get that sun actually matters. Ideally, you want strong morning sun and then some light filtering or a little protection in the hottest part of the afternoon. Because if they're in intense direct sun all day long, especially in hotter climates, you can run into issues like sun scald on the fruit, and it can stress the plant also. So it's not just full sun, it's the right kind of sun. Now, once you've got your location figured out, then you need to think about spacing. A lot of people plant peppers too close together. And early on, it doesn't look like a problem. The plants are small. Everything just kind of fits. And it feels like you're maximizing space. But once they start growing, that's when it catches up to you. The plants get crowded and airflow drops, and light can't reach the lower parts of the plant. And instead of putting energy into producing peppers, they start competing with each other. And that's when you end up with a lot of leaves and not much fruit. Now, generally, you're looking at about 12 to 18 inches between plants. But there is one exception to that I've had really good results with, and that is planting two peppers together in the same hole. So instead of spacing them apart, you actually plant them right next to each other, just an inch or so apart. And what happens is they grow together almost like one plant. They help shade each other, they support each other, and I found they actually produce really well that way. And the first time I brought this up on camera, I had a lot of you who had accidentally tried that, like me, say the same thing. But the key is, if you're going to do that, you still want to space those pairs properly. So you're not cramming everything together, you're just grouping them different. Two here, and then 18 inches away, two more, and then 18 inches away, two more. And that's something that has really worked well for me. It was a game changer, really. Because peppers aren't something you're constantly pruning and controlling like tomatoes. So the spacing and placement you give them at the beginning is what they're working with all season. And getting that right is one of the simplest ways to make sure your plants actually produce well. Once you've got your spacing and location figured out, now you can actually plant your peppers. And this part is simple, but there are a couple of things here that make a big difference later. The first is timing. Peppers do not like cold soil. Even if the weather outside feels warm during the day, if your nights are still cool or the soil hasn't really warmed up yet, they're just going to sit there. They won't grow much, they won't establish quickly, and that slows everything down, including production later. So instead of planting as early as you can, it's actually better to wait a little longer than you think. Once the soil is warm, that's when peppers really take off. Now, when it comes to the soil itself, you want something that drains well, but still holds enough moisture to stay consistent. Nothing too heavy, nothing that stays, soaking wet for too long, because peppers don't like to have their roots sitting in wet, soggy soil. That slows the growth and can lead to problems later on. So before you plant, make sure your soil is loose and has some organic matter worked in. And this is also where I like to add a couple of things right at planting. For the past 8 years, I've loved and used Neptune's Harvest products, and for planting time, it's a mix of crab and lobster shell and a little kelp meal. All of the macro and micronutrients the plants and soil need. And the crab shells are ground up into different size particles. So there's some slow release and some fast release action going on. Because these are organic and balanced, we're going to give the plant what it needs to produce fruit and not tons of leaves. So it's a small step, but it makes a huge difference throughout the season. Now, when you actually put the plant in the ground, this is where peppers are different from tomatoes. You don't want to plant peppers any deeper than they were already growing. Tomatoes can handle that, but peppers can't. So set them in, backfill, and press the soil in gently so everything is in contact. And then give them a good deep watering to help them settle in. If you get this part right, warm soil, good structure, and proper planting depth, you're giving the plant the best possible start. And that's what sets up everything that comes next. Now, if you've got a long growing season like I do, this is where you can take advantage of that. And when I say a long season, I'm talking about something like 120 days or more of warm growing weather, where you've got plenty of time from planting to your first frost. And in that situation, you can afford to slow the plant down a little early because you're going to make that time up later with a bigger, more productive plant. So early on, I'll actually pinch off those first flowers just for a little while until the plant gets bigger and more established. That way, all that energy goes into building a stronger plant, which leads to more production later. And along those same lines, you can also pinch the top out of the pepper plant once it gets to a certain size. What that does is it forces the plant to branch out more, which gives you more growing points and ultimately more places for fruit to develop. But this is important. That's only something you want to do if you've got a long enough season to recover from it. If you're in a shorter season, something like 90 days or less before your first frost, you don't want to slow the plant down at all. So in that case, you're better off letting it grow, flower, and produce as quickly as possible. So this is one of those decisions that really depends on where you are. Now, the other thing you'll notice with peppers is sometimes they'll drop flowers on their own. And this is where people start to think that something's wrong. But most of the time, it's just the plant reacting to conditions. If it's too hot, too cold, the watering is inconsistent, the plant's going to drop flowers instead of setting fruit because it knows it can't support them. So if you're seeing flowers fall off, it's usually not a random thing. The plant is telling you something's not quite right. And this is where consistency becomes really important. Consistent watering, stable conditions, and a plant that's had time to establish. And once you have that, flower drop becomes much less of an issue, and you start to see those flowers actually turn into peppers. And this is really the turning point, because once a pepper plant is established and holding onto its flowers, production starts to take off. Now, unlike tomatoes, peppers don't need a ton of support, but they do need some because early on they're usually they're looking pretty sturdy. They grow upright, the stems are thick, and it feels like they can hold themselves up just fine. But once they start producing, especially producing the way you want them to, that changes. As those peppers get bigger and heavier, the branches can start to lean or even snap if they're not supported. And this is especially true if you're growing larger varieties or you've got a really productive plant. So you don't need a big trellis system like you will with tomatoes, but giving them a little support goes a long way. A simple little bamboo stake right next to the plant works well. You can loosely tie that main stem as it grows just to keep everything upright and stable. And if you're doing that double planting method where you've got two plants growing together, they'll actually help support each other a little bit too. But even then, having a stake there keeps everything from leaning too much once they're loaded with fruit. And if you're like me, you're better off just staking them at planting time so you don't forget. Now, this is probably the biggest factor when it comes to getting peppers to actually produce, and it's where a lot of people unknowingly go wrong. Peppers want consistent moisture, not constantly soaked, but they don't want to dry out. And what a lot of people do is they let the soil get really dry and then they water heavily. And that cycle, dry to soaked, it creates a lot of stress on the plant. And when a pepper plant is stressed, one of the first things it does is stop setting fruit. It'll either drop flowers or just not produce much at all. So the goal here, again, is consistency. You want the soil to stay evenly moist. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're watering every day. It just means you're not letting it swing to extremes. A deep watering every few days is usually much better than a light watering every day because that encourages the roots to grow deeper where the moisture is more stable. And mulch makes a big difference here. A layer of mulch helps hold that moisture in the soil. It keeps things consistent and it reduces how often you need to water. And it keeps weeds down. Now, the other thing you want to pay attention to is how you're watering. If possible, water at the base of the plant. Keeping the leaves dry helps reduce disease and makes the plant more efficient overall. And all of this ties back to production because when watering is consistent, the plant isn't stressed, and that's when it can focus on what you want it to do, produce peppers. Now, it's very easy to grow a big, healthy looking plant that doesn't produce much at all. And most of the time, it comes down to how it's being fed. Early on, peppers do need some nitrogen to grow. That's what builds the plant, leaves, stems, overall size. And a lot of that is already happening from what you put in at planting time. Things like the crab and lobster amendment, the kelp meal, those are slowly breaking down and feeding the plant as it gets established. So early on, you really don't need to do much. But once the plant is established and you start to see flowers forming, that's when things need to change, because if you keep feeding nitrogen at that point, you're going to get more leaves and less fruit. And this is one of the most common mistakes. The plant looks great, it's growing fast, it's super green, but it's not producing. So once those flowers show up, that's your signal to shift. Now you want to move towards something that supports flowering and fruiting. More phosphorus, more potassium, less emphasis on leafy growth. So this is where I switch to the tomato and vegetable, or even the rose and flowering formula from Neptune's Harvest. They both work really well. They're designed to support blooms and fruit, not just push growth. And you don't need to overdo it. Consistency matters more than intensity. Smaller, regular feedings are going to give you much better results than one heavy feeding here and there. Because peppers don't want big swings, they respond to stability. And this is really the pattern you're starting to see with everything, right? Stable watering, balanced feeding, and a plant that isn't being pushed too hard in one direction. That's what leads to consistent production. Because if you push too much growth, you just get leaves. If you support the plant the right way, you get peppers. Now, this part doesn't need to be complicated, but it does matter, because even if you do everything right, good spacing, good watering, proper feeding, pests and a few common issues can still slow production down. The key here is catching things early and not letting them get out of control. And one of the most common things you'll run into with peppers is aphids, and they usually show up on the new growth at the top of the plant or the growth tips, and they'll start to feed on the plant, which weakens it and can slow down production. If you catch them early, it's easy to deal with. Now, even a strong spray of water can knock them off, and they'll drown in the puddles down below. Or something like neem oil works well if it starts to spread. Another one to watch for is leaf miners. You'll actually see these little squiggly lines running through the leaves. It's actually a larva that's between the layers of the leaves inside, feeding on the leaf tissue. That makes them hard to deal with because they're inside the leaf. The easiest thing to do is just remove those affected leaves as soon as you see them. That stops the problem from spreading and keeps the plant focused on healthy growth. Spider mites are another one, especially in hot, dry conditions. They can be a little tougher to spot early on, but you might notice tiny speckling on the leaves or a dull, dusty look. If it gets worse, you'll actually start to see some fine webbing. Again, catching it early is everything. Spraying down the plant, especially the undersides of the leaves, can help a lot, and neem oil works well here if you need that as well. The other thing to watch for is general leaf damage, whether it's from insects or just stress. If you start to see leaves getting chewed up or looking unhealthy, that's a sign something's going on. And just like we talked about earlier, removing damaged leaves can actually help. It improves the airflow through the plant, reduces the chance of problems spreading, and lets the plant focus its energy on healthy growth and fruit. When conditions are stable and the plant is healthy, pest and disease pressure tend to be much lower. And even when something does show up, it's much easier for the plant to handle it without affecting production too much. So this isn't about trying to control everything perfectly. It's about paying attention, catching issues early, and keeping the plant in a position where it can actually produce the way it should. Now, I want to leave you with this one more thing, and this is something that can make a noticeable difference in how much your peppers actually produce. And it's not something most people think about. Peppers don't always need to be pushed harder. A lot of times they actually produce better when they're not over cared for. And what I mean by that is this: if a pepper plant has everything it could possibly want all the time, constant water, constant nutrients, no stress at all, it's going to keep focusing on growing, mostly more leaves, more stems, more plant. But when a plant senses just a little bit of stress, not enough to hurt it, but just enough to signal that conditions aren't perfect, that's when it starts shifting towards reproduction, towards producing fruit. So once your plant is established, producing flowers, starting to set fruit, you actually don't want to overdo it. Don't overwater, don't overfeed. Feed every 2 to 3 weeks and let the soil dry slightly between waterings. And what you'll often see is the plant respond by putting more energy into fruit production. Now, this isn't about neglecting your plants. It's about not pushing them too hard in the wrong direction. Because at the end of the day, your goal isn't the biggest plant, it's the most peppers, right? And if your plant does really well this season, guess what? You can grow that same plant again next season and get much earlier production than starting again from seed or even a little transplant. Click here to learn how, even those of you in icy winters. I'll see you guys next time.